The United Nations headquarters in New York City is more than just a building. It's a powerful symbol of hope, unity, and the ongoing quest for peace in a world often divided by conflict and competing interests. Here, leaders from nearly every country on Earth gather under one roof, seeking peaceful solutions to the world's biggest and most pressing problems, from regional disputes to global crises. From war and conflict to hunger, poverty, and the urgent threat of climate change, the UN serves as the main stage for global diplomacy, where nations debate, negotiate, and strive for consensus. Its chambers have witnessed moments of both hope and division, shaping the course of history one speech, one vote, and one resolution at a time. Here, the world's most critical decisions are made, and sometimes history is rewritten. The UN's true power lies in its ability to bring everyone to the same table. A global meeting room where dialogue, negotiation, and compromise replace the threat of conflict and war. Born from the ashes of World War II, the United Nations was founded on the principle of preventing future global wars and fostering cooperation among nations for a safer, more just world. While the UN has not always been successful in every mission, its role remains vital, especially in peacekeeping, conflict resolution, and humanitarian efforts. The Security Council, General Assembly, and other bodies work tirelessly to maintain peace and security, often facing immense challenges and disagreements. Every word spoken here can ripple across continents, affecting millions of lives and shaping the policies of nations far beyond these walls. The UN not only shapes international law but also coordinates humanitarian aid for those in desperate need, responding to disasters, conflicts, and health emergencies worldwide. When a country speaks at the UN, it addresses the world, voicing its concerns, hopes, and demands on a truly global stage. The media broadcasts these sessions globally, holding nations accountable and ensuring that the world's eyes remain on the decisions made within these halls. Even smaller nations, which might otherwise go unheard, can have their voices amplified alongside superpowers, creating a unique and sometimes unpredictable dynamic. On any given day, the agenda is packed with complex, urgent issues, but sometimes a single speech or a passionate debate can shift the world's focus and change the course of events. These moments define the UN's ongoing relevance, reminding us that behind the formal protocols and diplomatic language are real national interests, human stories, and the potential for both conflict and cooperation. And on a recent September day, the Assembly Hall was about to witness one such pivotal moment, a chain reaction that would thrust the Middle East conflict back into the global spotlight, reminding the world of the UN's enduring importance. The session began routinely, with the usual formalities and diplomatic pleasantries filling the air. Delegates from around the world settled into their seats, expecting another day of measured debate and cautious statements. But the atmosphere shifted dramatically when the Qatari ambassador took the floor, breaking the monotony with an unexpected and bold announcement that caught many off guard. Qatar proposed a new UN resolution, calling for an independent third-party investigation into the security situation and access protocols at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem, a site sacred to millions. The resolution demanded the formation of a UN-led commission tasked with protecting the site's sanctity for all worshippers, regardless of faith, and cited recent escalations and tensions as urgent reasons for action. This marked a significant shift in Qatar's diplomatic approach, moving from its traditional role as a quiet mediator to making a public, forceful demand for international intervention. The ambassador's speech was resolute and impassioned, calling for immediate de-escalation and the protection of all holy sites as a crucial step toward regional stability and peace. The impact was immediate and palpable. Diplomats began exchanging urgent messages, and whispered discussions broke out across the room as it became clear that Qatar had forced the world to pay attention to an issue often overlooked. No longer just a regional dispute, the matter was now thrust onto the global stage, demanding a collective response from the international community. The proposal challenged every nation present to declare their positions on a highly sensitive and contentious issue, putting diplomatic relationships to the test. It was a bold diplomatic maneuver, calling not just for words but for the creation of a specific, actionable UN commission with real authority. This made it increasingly difficult for countries to simply ignore or dismiss the issue as the world watched for their reactions. Many, especially Western powers, now faced a difficult and potentially divisive choice, whether to support the resolution or risk appearing indifferent. Qatar had lit a spark in the UN halls, igniting a debate that could not be easily extinguished. The question now lingered in the air. Who would step forward to fan the flames and shape the outcome? The answer came swiftly, from two powerful voices, ready to seize the moment and respond to Qatar's call. The stage was set for a dramatic escalation, as the world watched to see what would happen next. After Qatar's impassioned speech, which set the stage for a heated debate, Algeria's representative took the floor, immediately shifting the room's energy with a commanding presence. Algeria, a staunch supporter of the Palestinian cause, fully endorsed Qatar's resolution, calling it long overdue and necessary for justice. The ambassador directly challenged Israel, accusing it of consistently ignoring international law and marginalizing non-Jewish residents in Jerusalem, a city of profound significance. He invoked Algeria's own history of fighting for independence, drawing poignant parallels to the ongoing Palestinian struggle for self-determination. "We know the price of freedom," he declared with conviction, "and we will not stand by silently as others suffer." The time for quiet diplomacy, he insisted, had passed. Collective and decisive action was needed now more than ever. He called on Arab and Muslim nations to unite in a stand for justice, urging them to rise to the occasion. Algeria signaled its readiness to lead a more assertive bloc at the UN, determined to make a difference. By framing the issue as one of fundamental justice and human rights, the ambassador aimed to rally broad support from all corners of the globe. He vowed that Algeria would use all diplomatic means available to ensure the resolution was debated and passed, leaving no stone unturned. The message was clear: the old ways were over and a new era was dawning. A new, more assertive front was opening, one that promised to challenge the status quo. The UN was now a battleground for a shifting global order, where voices demanding change were growing louder and more insistent. The momentum continued as Pakistan's ambassador took the floor. He commended Qatar and Algeria, affirming Pakistan's unwavering support for the resolution. The ambassador broadened the issue, linking Jerusalem to self-determination and state sovereignty. Addressing Israel, he said, "This is not about security protocols but about denying a people's right to exist in their own state." He accused Israel of violating UN resolutions and stressed that no nation is above the law. "We cannot have one set of rules for some and another for others," he asserted. Pakistan announced it would co-sponsor the resolution, adding its diplomatic weight. The ambassador pledged to lobby other member states, especially within the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. The combined force of Algeria and Pakistan transformed Qatar's proposal into a major international movement. The world could no longer ignore this formidable bloc. Tension filled the General Assembly as Israel's ambassador took the podium. He dismissed the accusations as a theater of the absurd, calling the resolution a coordinated attack to demonize Israel. Defending Israel's security measures, he insisted they were necessary to ensure freedom of worship for all faiths. He accused his accusers of hypocrisy, pointing to their own human rights records. "Before you point fingers at Israel, look at your own countries," he challenged. Israel categorically rejected the resolution, calling it biased and an infringement on its sovereignty. "Peace cannot be imposed from New York," he concluded. "It must come from direct negotiations." The lines were now clearly drawn. The diplomatic battle had reached a new intensity. To understand the UN firestorm, we must look at the history fueling it. Algeria's support for Palestine is rooted in its own anti-colonial struggle, seeing the Palestinian cause as a fight for liberation. Pakistan's stance is shaped by its identity as a Muslim homeland and its deep connection to Jerusalem's holy sites. For Israel, the context is survival and the fulfillment of a Jewish homeland, with Jerusalem as its ancient capital. Security concerns, born from a history of conflict, drive Israeli policy. These historical narratives make the conflict deeply entrenched. Each side sees itself as the victim, justifying its actions. The UN speeches were not just politics, they were expressions of these conflicting national stories. The clash was between entire histories, not just diplomats. The UN drama sent shockwaves worldwide, dominating headlines and diplomatic discussions. Qatar, Algeria, and Pakistan's move forced the world to take sides on the proposed investigation. In the Arab and Muslim world, the reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Social media buzzed with support. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation called an emergency meeting to coordinate strategy. In the West, reactions were cautious. The US called for de-escalation, walking a diplomatic tightrope. European nations were split, some sympathetic, others wary of alienating Israel. On the ground in Jerusalem, tensions rose, with increased security and protests. For Palestinians, it was a moment of hope. For many Israelis, a source of anxiety. The diplomatic battle in New York had immediate, real-world consequences. The world was watching, and the stakes had never been higher. The explosive UN session raises a critical question. What does this mean for Middle East peace? The harsh words and Israel's rejection of the resolution could deepen mistrust and stall peace talks. Yet some argue this disruption was needed to break a damaging stalemate. The bold move by Qatar, Algeria, and Pakistan put core issues back on the global agenda. Heightened UN pressure could force major powers to engage more seriously. The future now hinges on the actions of the US and other global players. This could mark a shift from a US-led process to a more internationalized approach. Whether this leads to a breakthrough or a dead end remains uncertain. As the dust settles, attention turns to the next steps at the UN. Qatar, Algeria, and Pakistan will lobby for support, likely securing a symbolic victory in the General Assembly. But the real test is at the Security Council, where veto power looms large. The US faces a tough choice: veto and risk alienating Arab partners, or abstain and signal displeasure with Israel. The decision will have profound implications for US relationships and the UN's role in the conflict. Beyond the vote, the world watches for escalation or de-escalation in Jerusalem. This confrontation has reshaped the diplomatic landscape. A powerful bloc is challenging the old dynamics of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Whether this sparks new dialogue or deeper confrontation is the story to come. The world watches, waits, and hopes for peace. The next chapter is about to unfold.